fiery, impulsive. Venus likes to weigh things. So, you know, in Aries, it's sometimes a little bit too abrupt, a little bit too sudden, a little bit, you know, I love you, right? It's very, no, I love you.
You say it like it's a bad thing.
It just needs to be tamed a little bit. Okay. All right, so next element. Let's just look at who has Venus in Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. Yeah, I thought so. I'm the only Earth Venus. I'm going to really ground Venus for you guys. All right, Venus is in its own sign in Taurus. Venus loves to be in Taurus. It's the most, it loves to be in Taurus and it loves to be in Libra. It's the most grounded, rooted, sometimes too comfort-loving, you know. But anyway, in Earth signs, love wants to be practical. Buy me, you know, a new car, or whatever, you know, or let's, it has a lot to do financially, because Venus is about what you value. So in Earth signs, it wants to be practical, it wants to be financial, it wants to see what is manifest, like what did we create here, okay? Or it wants to refine something beautiful. A lot of times, sculptors have Venus in Earth signs. By the way, I didn't really mention that, but artistry, creativity, that's Venus. How you create, that's Venus. How you do your art, that's Venus. That is Venus, Venus, Venus. That's really important. So in Earth signs, love made practical, creativity made practical, hands-on, mold the clay, you know. Venus and Virgo, hands-on, get yourself all, people, you know, Venus and Virgo, women and men generally are like, to the T, you know, garbed, right? Everything is lovely to look at. And Venus and Capricorn, generally, you know, there can be a kind of materialistic energy that needs to be transformed to the light at the mountaintop, but we'll talk about that. So anyway, it's about practicality. All right, now, let's, who has Venus in Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius? Yes, lots of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes, lots of air. Good, okay, and now Venus loves to be in Libra, because it rules Libra. So, whereas Venus in Taurus is about the sensuality and beauty of the physical world, the natural world, Venus in Libra is about social relationships. Like I was saying, you meet you, let's have partners, let's all be together. You know, there's a real energy of the masculine and feminine, the marriage in the heavens, right? But it's more mental and, you know, verbal. It's a cocktail party. You know, Venus in those signs, you guys should all go have a cocktail party, right? I mean, in the sense that, you know, Venus in Gemini wants to talk to everybody at that party. And Venus in Libra wants to make sure all they get along. And Venus in Gemini wants to talk to everybody but make sure they do something for the betterment of humanity, okay? But Venus in Gemini, it loves to be in Gemini too. It is the soul-centered ruler of Gemini. All right, so it's very happy there, because what it does is, it's what I said at the beginning, Gemini is all about polarity. It's all about black and white, this and that, right? Venus wants to take away duality and blend it. It wants to blend the head and the heart. It wants true wisdom. It wants to be in the place of the soul, and it wants to quiet the crazy, busy personality, right? That wants to journey all over the place and meet 1,000 different people and talk to 1,000 different people. Okay, so it loves to be there. And so any time Venus is in an air sign, it's very much about talking about love. It would be about, you know, writing would be very strong. You know, anything that has to do with communication, writing, exchange of information, right? For the air signs. Okay. And finally, who has Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces? Oh, wow. One little Cancer. Okay. One little Venus in Cancer. We needed a representative of Earth and water here. Much more the personal, sensitive, compassionate. Venus loves to be in Pisces. It's the most compassionate placement. It's all about unconditional love. Unconditional love. And love without borders, love without boundaries, right? So, and in the water signs, love is deeply, deeply, deeply felt and deeply communicated and deeply intuitive. And like I was talking with Venus and Scorpio, it can be kind of ferocious or kind of intense or very much about like, let's get in there and look at this, you know? Or love can have very strong endings, that kind of thing. But ultimately it's for the good, it's for the redemption, it's for the lifting the love into the light. And also anybody with Venus and Scorpio would want to create art that was intense, that was potent, that was regenerative. You know, they wouldn't be afraid of the darker stuff. And Venus in Cancer is the, you know, the love of those near and dear and family and who is your family and protecting that and that kind of, it's very much about like this kind of gesture, you know. See, now we're not just recording, we can actually video it so we can see this kind of gesture. Right? All right, so those are the elements. And when I talk about that, do you have a resonance with the element itself? You feel it in your system a little bit? What? So, what I've given you on your sheets is I've given you the placement of Venus in your chart, what sign it's in, as well as what house it's in, as well as what it's related to, what planets it's related to. And I actually just want to talk about that next. I want to talk about Venus in relationship to the different planets in your chart. Now, let me also just say that the way that we honor Venus by creating beauty. We honor Venus by following our bliss. We honor Venus by doing what we love. We honor Venus by honoring that the feminine receptive part of us and that which we see out in the world. The shadow side of Venus, the difficult side of Venus, is the over-accommodating side of Venus. It's like, I've given you everything. I've given you everything. And suddenly there's a snap. What have you given me? You know, I mean, I'll tell you, a good friend of mine is in a relationship where the guy's really lucky because he is a king, you know, and she's like, I spent 8 hours making you this meal and I'm gorgeous. She is gorgeous, I'm gorgeous, and I'm, you know, and I tell you how much I love you, and she does this consistent, I mean, like, for 2 years, it's kind of amazing and overwhelming. The out breath, the, you know, the just incredible generosity of Venus. She's got Venus in Libra at the ascendant, so it's incredibly powerful in her chart. The other day, she was like, I think I'm gonna break up with him. This was like 2 days before. She's like, oh my God, I'm marrying him, I'm in love with him, I'm just, you know, he's incredible, he's my, you know, my king, my beloved, you know. The heights of ecstasy, this relationship. And she said, I think I'm gonna break up with him. And she goes, I was hiking with him in the Grand Canyon, and I just kept on imagining, what if he falls in? You know, guess I won't be selling this DVD. Okay, so, but she really, it shifted to the Kali energy of Venus, the destructive energy of Venus. The energy like, I have given and given and given and given, and finally that is enough. You know, now I need to be honored. And so Venus can get over-accommodating, can give too much, and it needs healthy boundaries. And if any of you have Venus in relationship to Saturn, it's about boundaries with Venus, and we'll talk about that. But and also another shadow side of Venus is you can get lazy and overindulgent. And if any of you have Venus in relationship to Jupiter, you might have a little bit of that going on. It's hard. You can procrastinate. It's hard to get your Venus love, creativity going. Okay, it's like, this feels too good, because Venus and Jupiter are both these beneficent, yummy, yummy, yummy planets, and if they're like sitting next to each other, they're just like, let's just keep doing this, you know. So, yeah, really.
Yeah.
So that's the shadow side of Venus, and we just have to be aware of that. And you can also get into, I'm sort of getting ahead of myself, but you can also get into like Venus and Neptune, where, well, I'll come back to that. So let's just go quickly. You can look at your, if you don't understand the aspects, like I've written conjunct, trine, square, right? Basically, conjunct can be positive or negative. Trine is positive. Sextile is positive. Square is difficult. Opposition can be difficult, okay? And I think those are all the ones that I've listed, at least on this sheet, okay? what we're talking about here now is how your love and creativity is talking on the phone to your other planets. And whether it's being encouraged to move forward and out, what its obstacles are, what its help is, you know, where the juiciness is, okay? So we're going to skip the moon and the sun. We'll just say about the sun, we'll just say about the moon and Venus that generally people with moon-Venus conjunctions, very attractive, very magnetic, good things come to them. You know, it's a lovely connection. It's often very physically beautiful when you have Venus-Sun conjunction. Venus-Moon is an upliftment to the emotional life. If you have a conflict with the moon, sometimes the emotional life gets you stuck where the Venus creative impulse wants to go, the emotional